Season of Discovery, big PTR update. That's what's looking like we got here today. Hope you're all having a decent Friday. We're going to be bringing you a quick update, breaking down everything going on in today's patch on the PTR, going into it, seeing if it feels good. Now, of course, as we know, on Tuesday, we were supposed to get an update on the PTR, but Agron stated that the PTR build just simply wasn't ready for that day, and they had to delay it even longer. They had a holiday as well on Wednesday. Come Thursday, they said it wasn't going to happen again. They had some server infrastructure, yada, yada, yada. They didn't want to update it with all these issues going on. So once again, it was delayed and pushed until tomorrow, which is now today on Friday. And we're hoping that we get a lot of really good things coming with this patch. He also states that there's a lot of changes there and people will expect to log in and see them. So we're going to need to hold out on announcing the changes until the PTR build actually goes live. And as of just a couple minutes ago, he just posted saying that the build is being updated on the PTR now. Have some updates in the notes. Now, I haven't seen these yet, but we do have some very quick pointers that I want to go over that I've been seeing in the forums as well as in discussions of my own with a few content creators on some very big points out there testing phase 4 on the PTR right now. Some very important ones is that Rogue, Feral Druid, Ellie, and Enhancement Shaman all generally feel like they're in really good places right now. Rogue deals great DPS, just simply needs some more variety. They feel like they're only using Mutilate builds as of right now. Feral is now on top when it comes to Druid. The DPS is through the roof now, one of the top DPS in the game from our testing. Elemental and Enhancement Shaman are both in fantastic spots when it comes to Dual Wield Enhance, which we'll talk about in a minute. And then we talked about some classes that do need some minor adjustments, and I'm hoping get some bigger changes. Come to Mage, especially in particular, they haven't seen updates since I believe in early April at all, in fact. And their rotation is just boring as heck. You know, you're just spamming Frostfire Bolt. That seems to be one of the bigger problems. Some rune changement slots as well would be really, really nice for them. When it comes to Warlock, a very important one is that Affliction is just completely non-existent. We haven't seen it. It does not exist. And I'm hoping there's some sort of changes or buffs to this spec. I mean, as of right now, you don't even see it on the Warcraft logs ever throughout all of Season of Discovery's history, so maybe that can be an option. And then when it comes to Warrior, they feel like their Rage regeneration got cut a little bit too much, as well as Two-Handed Fury being the only viable spec, according to some Warriors out there, and they're hoping for some single-minded Fury love. Some classes that desperately need some changes and are on the bottom. Hunter, Melee got gutted, and they need some massive rune changes with the whole Wyvern Strike thing. They don't like it at all. Balanced Druid, their tier set is just absolutely useless for the Balanced Druid. I mean, the 2-set bonus for the Balanced Druid increases their Thorns damage, which does not feel good at all. And they have very, very low PvE damage output in general. Shadow Priest, once again, very clunky throughout every single phase in Season of Discovery. Their damage is low overall in PvE. Arcane Mage, very clunky gameplay, low damage overall in PvE. And then last but not least, the absolute dumpster can that is Two-Handed Shaman spec that I'm hoping gets some changes and some love as well. So this is just a very quick, brief little synopsis of some of the main issues going on, and I'm hoping these get addressed. We do have to remember it's very hard to balance something like this, and currently this is the DPS logs, Warrior on top, and Enhancement Shaman and Rogue, and then everyone just slowly seems to dwindle down until you look at the bottom where Priest, Balanced Druid, Arcane Mage, Warlock, all these specs are falling behind drastically. So hopefully we get some adjustments and things will get better in the future. We do have to remember the bottom line, like they said at BlizzCon, is not making Warriors less OP. It's making everyone OP. And as of right now in Sunken Temple, we all know that's not the case. Warriors are absolutely broken. And they stated that they were going to be making drastic class changes at level 60. Well, here we are. And we're hoping for a ton of them after about 9 days of testing and giving feedback from everyone in the community. So let's jump into these notes. I have not seen any of these yet. I have no idea what's coming. They're bringing up a Blackrock Eruption event occurring every 2 hours at midnight. The Blackrock Eruption will occur while the event is active. Additional spawns and environmental hazards will occur in Searing Gorge, and players will gain access to new daily quests at Thorium Point. Players will also receive a large bonus to honor gained while inside Blackrock Mountain. And conversely, players will gain no honor from World PvP while in Searing Gorge or Burning Seps while the event is active. So it looks like there is going to be a daily quest system inside of the Blackrock Eruption event. And they're stating that the intention of this event is an optional activity for players to do each day to earn additional Thorium Brotherhood and Hydraxian Waterlord's reputation if they want to do so, as well as create a flashpoint, so a highlight area, for World PvP focus inside of Blackrock Mountain. So you have some help for PvE to incentivize also PvP, which I guess is a big win. And once again, they're also emphasizing this is a lightweight and optional activity players can participate in. I guess this is all for the server here. Moving right into the class adjustments, they state that we've made an adjustment to allow each tank's primary AoE ability to hit a larger number of targets, in most cases 10 or more. Wow, that's a very big change for tanks out there. As a result, we decided to open up each tank class's AoE capabilities a bit more. So pretty much what is happening is that every tank in the game now has AoE in most cases up to 10 targets or more. So that's going to be very, very interesting. As we can see right here, Swipe now has a 10-man AoE cap. Molten Blast now has a 10-man AoE cap. Shadow Cleave now has a 10-man AoE cap. And Thunderclap has a 10-man AoE cap. So pretty much every tank in the game now has their AoE cap increased to 10, which should help in dungeons and just AoE cleave in general, which should help threat for tanks overall across the board. Something right off the bat for Druid that I'm noticing that seems really big is that Moonkin form will now provide the Druid with 2 spell power per the Druid character's level and allow Insect Swarm, Moonfire, and Sunfire's damage over time effects to critically hit while you're in Moonkin form. So if you're level 60, you're getting 120 spell power just for being in Moonkin form. And on top of that, your Insect Swarm, Moonfire, Sunfire can now critically strike over time. This should drastically increase their damage, which is a very, very big W. This is already one of the things on the checklist that is going to get checked off. So Balanced Druid already off the bat getting a lot of love. So you have Feral, Guardian, and Balanced Druid getting some love. Overall, big win for Druid here. Moving on to Hunter, these don't look like a lot of changes at all. The Heart of Lion aura no longer cancels itself and fixed an issue. I know this is probably going to get people very frustrated when it comes to Hunter. Melee Hunter specifically feel very, very bad right now, and I know the community is not loving it. It feels awful. They don't like the changes at all, so hopefully they continue to put out feedback and get some changes to that. Mage, once again, it looks like they're not getting any changes once again. The Arcane spec is still at a very, very lacking state. It does look like the Hot Streak rune has been moved to the Helm slot, which should help in their rotation because it was affecting the Frostfire Bolt and they were sharing the same rune slot. So hopefully that does make some changes. And Rewind Time has been moved to the wrist slot as well, which should help healers make decisions easier as well. Overall, once again, Mage didn't really get any love. They haven't gotten touched in like 3-4 months. I'm hoping they continue to look at feedback. I know I've left articles. I know a lot of people have left articles. So hopefully that's something that can be changed. Now, when it comes to Priest, I would say the biggest change has to be for their Pain and Suffering rune. It was really annoying to juggle all your damage over time effects. So now your Mind Blast, Mind Spike, and Mind Flay refresh the duration of, you know, your lowest left duration damage over time effects. So I guess that's going to help you juggle all of that to kind of have your dots on the target 24/7 in a raid environment. So that should help their damage overall. I still think Boomkin got a lot more love, but this is a step in the right direction for Shadow Priest, I would say. A lot of these changes for the Paladin here are just minor rune adjustments, as well as just fixes in general to like bugged runes, like Holy Shield dealing too much damage, and then additional shield damage from Divine Light overhealing will now apply to Beacon of Light targets. So nothing too crazy there. Is that the Righteous Vengeance rune, one of their new runes, has now been buffed up to 50% the damage dealt rather than 30%, which I guess is a DPS increase. And to my surprise, shout out to my boy Hello J Tello. His crying and whining was actually for something. They got Divine Steed, so it looks like Retribution Paladins are going to have a gap closer. Divine Steed increases the Paladin's movement speed by 100% for 3 seconds on a 45-second cooldown. That is a very, very, very big win if you're a Retribution Paladin main out there. We're going to have to see how that feels. Hopefully it feels better. You know, you pop your Blessing of Freedom on yourself, you pop Divine Steed, and should close the gap just about on anybody out there in the entire game so you don't get kited the entire time. So very big win overall. Divine Steed, Retribution Paladin did get a movement speed ability. Big shout out to my buddy Hello J Tello. With rogues, it looks like they just fixed some bugs overall, as well as giving the attack power bonus to their defense skill, yada yada. And the biggest change for rogue overall, though, is being Saber Slash now stacking 3 times instead of 5 and granting 33% damage increase per stack. So rather than it being 100% damage on 5 stacks, it's now 100% on 3 stacks. So really nothing too big there either. When it comes to Shaman, of course, their Shield Mastering Rune is getting more attack power, and then it will also trigger from your Flame Shock, which should help you get more attack power, so you should deal more damage. It also says that the attack speed bonus granted by two-handed weapon spec after landing a melee attack on an enemy with two-handed weapon has now been increased to 50%. Previously, it was at 30%, I believe, for a two-handed weapon attack. So an additional 20% attack speed, I guess that should help their damage slightly. I don't think it's going to be anything too crazy. I was hoping for some sort of, extra attack being added into the game, like Ice Strike or maybe the Sundering ability. Let's continue. It says Maelstrom Weapon now has significantly higher chance to proc with two-handed weapons equipped as well. So technically, two-handed Shaman did get some love, and I guess that is something to be happy about, and it does look like they are keeping an eye out on something like that, and that's something we're going to have to dive in and go test out and go check to see if it feels good. Once again, Molten Blast can now hit up to 10 targets, and the maximum rank of all weapon imbuements now has a 1-hour duration. So for Shaman, Elemental and Enhancement didn't really need much love. The only specs that needed to get adjusted were the Tank spec as well as the two-handed Shaman spec, and both of those did see some adjustments and improvements. That is something to be happy about. Moving on to Warlock, it looks like for Demonology, your Felguard now has a new passive ability called Demonic Frenzy, where whenever it attacks, it's granted additional attack power stacking up to 10 times. So it does seem like your Felguard should do some damage now, because previously it just wasn't dealing enough. It felt really bad to, get your Felguard out and be a Demonology and try to fill that, class fantasy, and it just didn't do nothing. It felt really bad. So hopefully with these changes, it feels good and the damage is actually worthwhile. Soul Siphon also, through Affliction, now grants Drain Soul a 300% increased damage when the target's below 20% health. So almost like an Execute. So once again, Demonology getting buffed, so hopefully you can play it, as well as Soul Siphon for Affliction now, granting you a 300% damage bonus to your Drained Soul for that Execute phase for Affliction Warlock, so potentially it might feel good for Affliction Warlocks out there. Now, it looks like Lake of Fire has been redesigned for a second time in Season of Discovery's lifespan, and will now cause your Rain of Fire to be instant cast, with no channeling time, but have an 8-second cooldown, similar to how it is in retail World of Warcraft, where you just press the ability and it's just channeling on its own and dealing damage. So I guess that's good for AoE. We'll have to see how it feels in game if the damage is high enough and it feels good. Backdraft is now getting buffed for the casting speed being up from 10 seconds to 15 seconds. Shadow Cleave, like we spoke about earlier, can now hit 10 targets. And their Mark of Chaos rune is actually now being redesigned. So it looks like it's going to be applying a sort of debuff now, to where it now causes your Curse of Agony and Curse of Doom to apply the Mark of Chaos to a target for the duration, reducing the target's resistances by up to 75 and increasing the target's spell damage taken by 10%. So it looks like Warlock could be getting some more utility there if this is something you're going to be speccing into. It does look like this would be mandatory if you were coming to my raid group. A Warlock can easily spec into that. Give everyone 10% more increased spell damage to your party. This is a very big win for casters. As we can see, if we go to the logs here, all casters are on the bottom. Arcane Mage, Shadow Priest, Balance Druid, Frost Mage, DPS Warlock, Fire Mage, Ellie Shaman, all of them, the second half of the bottom tier is all Shadow casters. So you add 10% to this with that debuff. That should be a big win. Big shout out for Warlocks. Hopefully Affliction Warlock continues to get some love, because we have never seen them even on the DPS logs. And I would really like to see that class come out of its shell and actually get some play inside of Season of Discovery in the last couple phases. When it comes to Warriors now, it looks like Shield Slam is getting buffed, as well as Single-Minded Fury has been adjusted to where now grants a Single-Minded Fury buff that stacks up to 5 times, granting 2% increased attack speed while you continue attacking the same target, and the movement speed effect has been reduced back to 10. So it looks like You're getting more attack speed, and the threat reduction has been removed as well, though. So hopefully you might be able to use this for single-minded Fury like tanking. Maybe that could be an option, and maybe for Fury Warriors out there, this could help them. You guys got to let me know in the comment section below, because I don't know too much about Warriors in Classic WoW. What do you guys think about this when it comes to Fury? A 10% attack speed bonus, I guess passively, I feel like that would feel good, but it's not there yet. You guys got to let me know. And then Gladiator Stance got increased rage regen when someone's not attacking you. Thunderclap can now hit 10 targets. And then a brand new ability for Warrior has been added called the Valor of Azeroth. I guess Warriors are just going to have a passive buff that increases everyone's attack power by 90 and 5% crit chance to spells and attacks. So it says also all party and raid members. So I guess that might be raid wide. So the point of this buff would be that if you lose Rallying Cry of the Dragon Slayer, you're supplemented with this buff automatically and it doesn't feel bad. They specifically say Warriors in particular gain a mass amount of power from their world buffs, and the class can feel a lot less satisfying without them. So while this won't raise a Warrior's overall maximum throughput, it should help bring the floor up in situations where Warriors have to go without world buffs. Yeah, I would say that's a really good choice. I guess that's everything for today. I would say some of the biggest wins that I saw was that Paladin getting Divine Steed was a very, very big shock. I mean, you know, I guess my boy Hello J Tello, he was the squeaky wheel. He got the grease. They got some changes. I am really, really sad at the fact that Mage didn't get much love at all, as well as Hunter. These two classes haven't gotten love for a minute now. It seems like Hunter is getting nerfed every other patch, and Mage is just non-existent with changes, buffs, or anything in general. So that is something that's really, really upsetting. I would say another big W for this patch is that Shaman did get buffs to their two-handed spec, which a 20% attack speed bonus and significantly higher chance to proc Wind Fury. I'm not really sure what that is exactly, but we're going to have to test it out in the game just to see how everything feels. I would say overall, a lot of these are a step in the right direction, but I think there are classes out there that need some love. Affliction Warlock, Arcane Mage. We're going to have to see with Two-Handed Shaman. Single-Minded Fury Warrior did get some love a little bit. You Warriors got to let me know how it feels in the comments section below. But overall, they technically are making changes. It has been, I think, 9 days since the PTR was up, and this was everything that we got. Hopefully we have some more things to test out. I think Shadow Priest is going to need some more love as well heading into the end game, but I'm going to be honest, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know how much longer this PTR is going to be up for. If I had to guess, it's going to be for at least another 3-4 weeks. Maybe that'll give us enough time to make some class changes. So if you guys have any class changes you want out there, you got to get on those forums and get it out there, man. It's really just as simple as that. Anyways, this is some steps in the right direction. I will have to admit, hopefully they continue to make changes and things continue to look upward for Season of Discovery. I do have an update on the channel on what we're going to be doing soon because simply we're just not getting enough content from Season of Discovery, and I am going to be making War Within content very, very soon. So I hope you guys stay interested in the channel for that. But yeah, we'll be keeping you guys updated on Season of Discovery, of course, like usual. I want to thank you all so much for watching this video. Let me know what you guys think about these changes in the comment section below. As always, my name's Sky for the Comeback Kids. I will see you all in the next one. Peace.